Merci, monsieur. Brilliant.
It's starting to get well, the sun's definitely coming down a little bit now. So we're heading towards camp. We should be there maybe in the next sort of 10-15 minutes, and then we're going to set up base camp for the night. About 4 o'clock today, after we've been driving for a few hours, the guide pulled us over because he saw a mate of his in the desert, a goat herder, and as he went and pulled over, he asked us if we wanted a goat. And I was a little bit, reluctant at first, but I think a few of the other guys were interested, and I thought, well, why not? We're in the desert, so we should eat how they eat in the desert.
I like to think he's just going to pounce and sink his teeth in, but I think that's probably not going to happen.
He kind of lifted up its back legs, so it was only walking on its front legs to just kind of tire it out. And eventually, after about 10 minutes, he brought this goat over to us, and that was our dinner. What the guys have done is they've made a little fire, they've popped some sand ladders down on the floor, now grilling the goat that we had caught for us earlier for us to eat.
I think if we hadn't been with these guys, it would have been a pot noodle, so quite lucky again. There you go, do you want to do that as well?
Yeah, go on.
Break that.
No cheating. No worries.
Take a bit each.
That's right.
Yeah?
Yeah. And we want to see you
Oh my God.
chew and swallow.
Well, a chewing bit I've got.
Sorry.
Oh, it's really good.
That is damn good. Really tender.
It's got, they put some spices and stuff in it as well. Really nice. It was a really nice wake up this morning actually, because it was nice and sunny and bright and warm, and we just had a relaxed and took our time to pack our tents away, and then just kind of played around on the dunes a bit.
All the stress back in Dakar just seems like weeks ago. I'm so glad that we chose to do the desert, just because if we hadn't, we'd have missed out on what I feel now is the main part of the trip.
One of the real plus points of the day was the weather. Cloudless sky, sun was out, and it just felt a lot more like it should do in the desert.
Si took his backseat driving to unknown levels today.
When Alexis drives, the problem is me. Fucking hell. Fuck! That's right fucking next to me.
We didn't have any music, and the in-car entertainment was just Si's cussing and swearing.
Fucking flies. Fuck. Fucking hell, it's coming through. I don't know, I think it's just like a control thing. Like when I'm driving, I'm fine, but with anyone else, I have real fear. After we've been driving for a few hours, we came to the national park here in the Sahara.
It's really bizarre, having just been on our own in the desert for hundreds of K. We've come to the national park and we've just been surrounded by little kids. We've just seen a whale carcass on the way in, and we've been told not to give them any gifts or anything like that, but they're all asking anyway.
I found it a bit strange, made me feel a little bit uneasy because they were clearly very, very poor, but just seeing them all come over and the hustle and bustle after just seeing desert for days, just seeing these vibrant colours and this excitement of these kids and women as our car pulled in, it was an amazing sight.
1 minute we're driving on in this arid terrain, sort of in the middle of the desert, and then we just came out and it's that water, it's the beach, it's the sea, brilliant, and we just started bombing along the sea, and we were literally at one point we were just like a metre away from the sea, just bombing it along the coast.
And then what we've done is we've just pulled in next to the sea to camp. It was really nice though. We just went and had a swim in the sea, and it was just what everyone wanted to cool down after a day's driving in the sweltering Saharan heat.
When we woke up on the beach that morning, it was again a beautiful sunny day, and we just saw a few fishermen kind of going backwards and forwards on the beach, and at one point a few guys in a boat kind of came down to us and hauled out 2 massive fish from the boat and just plonked them on the shore. And unfortunately none of us were hungry. We'd had quite a slap-up meal the night before on the beach, but it was just amazing. Brightly coloured fishermen coming into the bay. It's a shame none of us wanted them really, because they look great. I'm very excited about today because finally we're getting out of the desert, and I think our car's just about had enough of it. To be honest, I'd quite like to have stayed here a few more days, but for the sake of the car, I think it's probably for the best we get going.
The poor old Bronco really is taking a bit of a battering. She's just falling apart, and it is a miracle she's got this far. First it was the handbrake, then it was the clutch.
Once too often or something.
That's the boot.
Ow. The day driving down the beach was probably the most exhilarating driving that we've done so far, hampered slightly by the fact that we could smell clutch for about half the way there.
Oh, let's just get to the bloody road. I don't care how picturesque it is, let's just get to the road. Oh my God! Just need some flat. We drove for about maybe 2 hours along the beach, and before long we were getting off the beach and leaving the desert for the final time. We spent the morning driving on the beach without too many mishaps. There's a few smells of clutch and such, but the car's got us here. It's got us out of the desert. We're now on road going into Nouakchott. So yeah, spirit's quite high at the moment. A few days ago, we'd never have thought we'd get through the desert and see the other side. So it's almost a miracle that we've got here, and it feels great. Nouakchott, considering it's capital of Mauritania, it's very similar to Nouadhibou, I think, but on a larger scale. There's clearly a lot of poverty, but at the same time, it just had this kind of weird balance because there was a lot of advertising and neon lights and everything. So although you were hitting civilization, it just felt a little bit weird, a little bit strange.
Loving that new makeover. Now we've just got to find a colourblind buyer.
I like driving in Africa when it's kind of quiet, open road, but some of the towns and cities, it's an absolute nightmare because there's things bombarding you from all directions. There seems to be no rules to the road. There's a lot of road rage out there, a lot of it mine. Watch it, mate. What are you doing? You all right? What the hell was that? There's just so much going on, you know, and there's donkeys flying from everywhere, and these cars that are falling apart with 30 people hanging off the roof. We had to stop at one point because there were camels in the road. So it's definitely quite a challenge getting out of those towns. We're currently on the way to the Senegalese border. One of the main crossing points into Senegal is a place called Rosso, which is about another maybe 75 miles away, but we've been advised not to cross there. So we're going to carry on along the border about another 100 miles to a place called Diarma, which hopefully should be an easier crossing point into Senegal for us. Once you hit Rosso, the road ended and it just became this strange dirt track which you kind of thought, is that for cars? I wasn't driving myself, which probably made it harder, but I have to say it was probably the most difficult drive for me on this whole trip. Yeah, I'm a bit stressed out at the moment. I just don't think this just doesn't feel right. And the last thing I think we want to be doing is crossing the border into Senegal in the dark, because we've been told it's not a nice place to cross. Well, big one. Fucking hell! Just not liking this road at all.
It's really bad in the back. I've had it as well, so sat in the back. You feel it about 3 times as much.
Just want to get into Senegal now. Just get there, just get somewhere safe. Well, we've just about made it into Zebra Bar here in Senegal, but we really have limped in and our car's taking a complete battering. She's on her last legs really, so we're hoping that the roads don't get any worse from here on in, because we might have to really limp our way into Banjul otherwise.
We're missing the left indicator at the back. The light bulb's still in, it just about works. But on the right indicator, we've actually lost the bulb and the light.
Obviously our handbrake's been gone since Spain, but now it looks like our main brakes don't seem to be working properly either. So we may, in fact, when we get to Banjul, just keep on going purely because we can't stop.
The boot's been held in by a bungee rope because it's been bent completely out of shape and won't close at all.
Obviously, add that to our clutch. The only pedal that hasn't had any problems so far is our accelerator.
That strap is meant to be holding our gas tank in place, and in fact the only thing that's doing that now is this tow bar, which we nearly took off.
Our roof rack took an absolute battering on the dirt roads. It's just all that's holding it in place now, these bungees.
But apart from that, it's absolutely fine.
Oh, careful, mate, you just pulled the thing out.
Yeah, because that might break it.
I just think it's amazing that we've got this far. Everyone keeps saying to us, you guys just must have 9 lives, because we've had so many problems, and with our just such limited, well, I would say limited mechanical knowledge, but in general it's just limited knowledge. It's just amazing we've got this far, really.
We ended up leaving Zebra Bar a little earlier than we intended to, because the idea was to get from Zebra Bar to Banjul in one day, which was a bit of a trek, but we thought we'd give it a go.
I think it's going to be a long day driving, because it's probably going to take quite a while to get to the border, and then once we're through the border we have to get a ferry into Banjul, so we could be coasting into Banjul very late at night, and might be a slight muted celebration. The roads down to the Senegalese to Gambia border weren't great, but we saw some quite interesting sights going through a few towns, some quite traditional Senegalese towns. And it took us best part of the day to make our way down towards the border crossing. Well, we've just made it into the Gambia, our last port of call. We're now going down some dark lane, hopefully towards the ferry port. We're not too sure whether it's going to be open or whether we're going to be able to cross to Banjul yet. But at least we're in the Gambia. We've done it after 3 weeks of travelling. We're here, our final country. We've finally got to the ferry port at Barra. We're now waiting in a queue to get on the ferry, so we'll be crossing soon. We're both quite tired. We're getting quite a lot of attention from the locals. It's dark, so we've kind of shut all our windows and boxed ourselves in. I don't know how long it's going to be to get the ferry or what time the ferry's going to leave, but we're here now, and all we can do is sit and wait, really. It's a bit frustrating because we're so close to our goal of Banjul. It's only 7 miles from here. It's absolute spitting distance yet. We're just stuck here in this horrible kind of limbo.
We've been told if we're lucky we'll get on the 8 o'clock ferry, and that would be nice.
We're still just sat waiting at the ferry port in Barra. Been here for about 13 hours now. It's nearly 9 o'clock in the morning, and slept here during the night. It wasn't a particularly good night's sleep at all, and yeah, we're just waiting to see what's happening with this ferry. We still don't know when we're supposed to get on, or if we've still got a place in the queue, or what's happening really. So all we can do is wait.
Getting onto the ferry was almost as strange an experience as waiting 16 hours to get onto it. There were just people who seemed to have all their worldly possessions with them, all cramming onto this ferry. Market traders and other vehicles, and they just cram on as many people as possible just to do this little 7-mile trip over to Banjul. We're finally coming into Banjul, which is such a relief. We got no sleep last night, really. We're absolutely shattered. But that is our final destination.
It was quite sad to drive it for the last time, the Bronco. But it was a bit like, I guess, it's like one of those cars that clowns drive, where at the end of the show they try and drive off, but all the doors fall off. And I think in many ways that's a similar image to what our car was like, limping into Banjul and just falling apart, really. Now we're here in Banjul. We're going to clean the car up because we're taking off to auction at the Olympic Stadium here in Banjul. Hopefully by cleaning the exterior a little bit, maybe people won't notice some of the frailties under the bonnet and underneath the car. The whole main rule of the challenge is once you get into Banjul, you have to sell your car for local charities. All the money raised from the Plymouth Banjul Challenge goes to these local charities. Looks worse than when we started.
It's a Ford Bronco petrol engine, so who will give me 5,000? 5,000, 9,000, 15,000. Please, it's a good car. 18,000. Who give more? 27,000. Good. The car is sold to the 27,000.
The car in the end went for about £600, which, although I was a little bit disappointed at the time, is still 6 times what we paid for it.
Thank you, mate. We drove this 4,000 miles.
Thank you.
Thank you for buying it. There you go. They seem pretty happy, yeah. It's a big sturdy car. They're going to be using it for business. There's loads of room in the back for putting various things. It's got the roof rack as well. However long that lasts. There we go. No longer ours. Officially someone else's.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
My name is Felix. 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 Well, thank you, Felix.
All right.
Good luck. Thank you.
After a couple of days in Banjul, we got a chance to go and visit some of the charities that the money from the auction of the cars goes towards.
This is the way that they used to water all the crops with buckets by hand, but the charities raise money for these irrigation systems, which means they don't have to do that anymore, so a lot of the older women can concentrate on other work. So this is just the kind of kids in the community that hopefully raising money from this challenge will help to give them more opportunities in life, like being able to play football and being able to learn computer skills and have paper to write on in the school. So it's all really good causes. Although the challenge is about driving all this way and taking these slightly ropey cars all the way through the desert and all the way through Africa for 4,000 miles, that's not really what it's all about. It's about the charity element, and to see that was really good.
I think the thing is about this trip, it's amazing how quickly things can go from good to bad, but it's equally amazing how the reverse can happen, and you can suddenly find yourself once again back on a complete high.
We did it!
Probably the thing that touched me the most on the trip was just the warmth of a lot of the people we met on the journey. So many people would just see our car, and it was this kind of emblem and symbol for people to come up and say hello and greet us and welcome us to their place.
We kept saying we're getting to the Gambia, we'll get to the Gambia by whatever means necessary, and it's all paid off. We really were the stragglers and the underdogs, and we've somehow managed to make it, and it feels brilliant.
If anything, it's testament to our friendship that we've got through this fight, because without each other, I don't think we'd be able to have done it. And it just shows that when you're good mates, you know each other well enough, you can help each other get through anything, really.